Even the horror greats have some blemishes on their filmography. John Carpenter has Ghosts of Mars, Tobe Hooper has Crocodile, and Wes Craven has a werewolf venture that reeks of having a troubled production. In fact, this movie was an absolute mess. From the Weinsteins asking for changes to the plot after it was already shot and forcing excessive reshoots, to Rick Baker's phenomenal werewolf effects being replaced by CGI monstrosities. And that's not even getting into the fact that it was cut down from an R rating to a PG-13. Like I said, an absolute mess. I'm Tyler Nichols with JoBlo Horror, and today we're taking a look at how awfully good is Wes Craven's Cursed.
You should get to school.
Hey, I was bitten by a werewolf. I mean, that's not good enough for a sick day. I could be cursed.
Usually on this show, I really like to focus on the presentation of the film and its story, but the behind the scenes of Curse contributes so much to all of the insanity that's up on the screen that I just have to talk about it. Plus, I think it'll make a little more sense of the story. The original concept for Cursed was actually pretty cool. Kevin Williamson wrote a script about a serial killer in New York City who discovers his lust for killing is due to his lycanthropic tendencies. Pretty neat concept. And while director Wes Craven was hesitant to take on the project, he was given double his usual fee, making it a no-brainer. By the time cameras got rolling, Williamson was a little too busy to continue with the project. So screenwriters Tony Gayton and Sean Hood were brought in to do rewrites during production. These rewrites were so severe that, despite being practically finished, production halted while they figured out the new story. This was all at the behest of the Weinsteins, who didn't think that the film was working. And before we get into the story of Cursed, I want to talk about some of the casting decisions, because this has the strangest history ever. James Brolin, Scott Foley, Robert Forster, Heather Langenkamp, John C. McGinley, Mandy Moore, and Corey Feldman were all initially cast, and most of them filmed their roles and then completely dropped from the film once production paused. Heck, originally Skeet Ulrich was cast as the werewolf at the center of the story, but dropped out after reshoots completely changed the dynamic of his character. Making it even stranger is that Ulrich had appeared on Entertainment Tonight to promote the project during filming. Like I said, insane. It's clear right from the start of Curse that we're in for a rough time. Yes, that's a guy howling and not a wolf, because this is hip and for the MTV generation. We know that because it immediately goes into frantic editing and a rock song about Little Red Riding Hood. It hasn't been 30 seconds and they're already leaning into the werewolf aspect hard. We were introduced to one of our leads, Jimmy, played by Jesse Eisenberg. I just wanted to remind people that this is an Oscar-nominated actor.
I'm sorry, 1 minute's here, the next minute. What? Hey, Brooke, right?
I didn't realize that the man could get more awkward, but here you have it. He's immediately shown to be a loser, unable to talk to girls, and then immediately being bullied.
Geek on his way to Bagtown?
Look, I'm not gay.
Bummer. You mean you're just an ass wimpwad for no reason?
Whoa, 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 let's settle down with the homophobic.
Dog is gay too.
Jesus, this movie is so canceled. But there is a reason for it, as they show that the bully is gay later on.
I'm gay.
But our actual lead is Christina Ricci's Ellie, who is a producer on The Late Late Show with Craig Kilborn, for some reason. Even funnier is that Kilborn wasn't even the host of the show by the time that this actually released. It was Craig Ferguson. Either way, Ellie visits her boyfriend Jake as he's prepping for the opening of his horror venue. She picks up her brother Jimmy, and they get in a car accident. Originally, these characters weren't related, and the car accident was a way of bringing these three strangers together. Instead, they just decided to go as stereotypical as possible with one of the worst car crashes I have ever seen. These screams will never not be hilarious. Ellie and Jimmy have a run-in with a werewolf where they each get bitten. At this point, the story leans into the generic and focuses on these two siblings going through massive changes due to their newly discovered wolfy side. This includes Jimmy's dog not liking him, Ellie liking the smell of her coworker's blood, and eating meat by the container. And due to the PG-13 rating, we're not getting much of any violence. Sure, there's blood here and there, but we're not seeing anything in action. Take Maya's Jenny character, who has this whole Scream 4 style stalking sequence in a parking garage that leads to her being trapped in an elevator. Despite her unbelievable stupidity, there is some tension here, and we get some decent shots of Rick Baker's werewolf design. But we see absolutely none of the kill, it just fades to black. What is the point?
He's here to try out for the team.
Really? You?
The wrestling scene belongs in a bad movie pantheon of terrible scenes. They try to give him cool guy hair and outsmart the bully through witty dialogue. It almost comes across like Spider-Man fighting Flash Thompson, complete with bad wire work and a hilariously on-the-nose one-liner.
You know the best part about being a fairy? You get to fly.
After Bo admits that he's gay to Jimmy,
I'm gay.
they're paired together for the rest of the film. It genuinely just feels like the producers just wanted more hip young people involved. Because Bo is completely inconsequential to the third act. At this point, everyone ends up being at Jake's big opening. There's a lot of potential with this scene as there's a hall of mirrors and props from other films. But it just comes across as sloppy and expositional as Jake tries to give the audience a little bit of an explanation. They also throw the twist in that, while yes, Jake is a werewolf, it's actually Judy Greer's Joni that has been murdering all of these people. She's desperately in love with Jake and is killing off his potential love interests. It's honestly not a terrible idea, it's just the execution that fails completely. Now let's talk about the Rick Baker of it all. Because the actual design of the werewolves is pretty great, when they're not CGI of course. HelloSydney.com was able to get their hands on some production stills, and they provide a cleaner shot of the creature. But it's clearly a man in a suit, and that man is actually Jason Voorhees himself, Derek Mears. And it works for me. It certainly works a lot better than whatever the hell this thing is. The transformation is bad, how it's shot is poor, and there isn't a lot that actually works about this ending. But that's kind of what makes it glorious. How can a master such as Wes Craven completely fumble the ball this bad? Oh, yeah, bastards. The cuts between the CGI werewolf and the man in a suit are rather jarring. They definitely should have taken a less is more approach with how much they showed the creature. And shit like this should have been excised entirely. The way in which they dispose of Joni, the person behind all these murders, is rather lame, with cops simply shooting her. Why not give the heroes a little more something to do? Well, that's because we need a whole nother ending where Ellie and Jake fight back at the house, because this couldn't have just all happened in the same location. That would be too easy. Jake is decapitated and the siblings are free of their werewolf curse. Newly gay Bo, his ex-girlfriend, and Zipper all show up because apparently they really needed to give everyone a happy ending. Well, everyone except audiences. We've worked our way through the film, now let's grab some drinks and get into some awfully good drinking games. The Lon Chaney. Take a drink every time there's a reference to a better werewolf movie.
Is a sterling replica to commemorate the 50th anniversary of the Wolfman.
Broken Pixels. Take a sip every time there's unnecessary usage of CGI.
Get out of it. Let's go.
Editor's Lament. Take a drink whenever they cut so quickly between shots that it's almost hard to tell what's happening. Now that we're properly sloshed, let's get into some awfully good trivia. A Freddy Krueger stand-up is briefly seen behind Ellie and Jake. Jimmy also runs into a Pinhead statue at one point. The benefit party at PETA was originally the film's opening kill. Due to the poor performance of Cursed, Craven's next film, Pulse, was promptly cancelled. Most of the scenes involving Milo Ventimiglia were a result of reshoots. The high school used is the same one used in both Buffy the Vampire Slayer and She's All That. Mandy Moore was originally cast as the opening victim, but was replaced by Maya. with the scene being shifted from the opening to more in the middle of the film. The movie's finale was originally set in a wax museum. The part of Ellie was originally offered to Zooey Deschanel, but she had to decline due to a busy schedule. It took nearly 19 months for Patrick Lussier to edit. There's said to only be 12 minutes of original footage in the film. The rest is from the reshoots. Was originally planned to release in 2003. So on a scale from Victor Salva to Roger Corman, I give Cursed an awfully good rating of a 3. It's mostly just fun to look at for what they got wrong. There have been a ton of troubled productions over the years, but I'm not sure any intrigue more than Cursed. Unlike the Snyder Cut of Justice League, I doubt we will ever see the intended version of this film. And we can blame the Weinsteins for making unnecessary changes. If you like this video, make sure to like and leave a comment because the original version of Cursed seems perfect for a WTF Unmade. Think you guys would be interested in that? I'll leave you with this quote from Judy Greer about the film. "I don't know why the movie got so f***ed up. I don't understand it. I thought the script was fine. Honest to God, I didn't get the big deal. I don't know who kept making them f*** with it. Then we shot the movie for like 7 years. I think they said we had 4 movies worth of footage. It was so fun, but so weird. I don't get it. I couldn't figure it out. Us either, Judy. Us either."
I am not gonna kill her. I promise. I'm just gonna rip her to shreds and let her choke on her own blood.
It's all